What's up everyone? At PAX West 2022 this year, they came in swinging. They let all the fans know that they're not only just back, they're still fully committed to bringing you a top tier in-person experience. I wasn't sure if I was gonna go this year because last year was kind of lackluster, but with the announcement of Repop buying E3 earlier this year, I was excited to see what that would bring in store for the other PAX conferences coming up, PAX East for next year, as well as E3 returning. This year was heavily leaned on the exhibitor side of things, not so much of the vendor side stuff, but I don't think that took away from the experience of walking around and having a good time playing games and then, talking to the developers. This event was a lot more well-rounded than it was last year, so kudos to them for stepping it up and still bringing a really fun experience to Seattle. So let's get started with the overview. I won't be talking about every single exhibitor that was there, just the bigger ones that I kind of noticed were taking a lot of space visually, and so we'll start off with Nintendo. Nintendo solely dedicated their booth to their Splatoon 3 release. Everything was decked out in ink and, it was a whole vibe. It was pretty cool. You got to test demo the game. There's like a big photo booth area you could check out. I was really impressed with their set design and the utilization of all that space. That being said, I was a little disappointed that that was the only game Nintendo was showcasing there. I would have loved to see a little bit of the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet hands-on demo or anything like that. I remember they did that for Pokemon Sword and Shield back in the day. Next up, Intel had a pretty big presence there as well. They had two booths. One was bigger, one was smaller, but pretty much they were showing off their PC build. They had some stream booths and you can meet up with some streamers during the time slots and whatever. I got to hang out with Wardell for a little bit. We chopped it up about, my camera setup and stuff like that, and he's a cool dude, so it was a pleasure to meet you. And one of their bigger attractions was kind of like a box-like thing that you'd go into and test out their new ARC chip. I don't know anything about it. I think you could just test demo the PC with it on. That was one of the things I saw a lot of people lining up for. So another set we gotta talk about is the Tiny Build set. It was big. It was massive. Big carnival themed. It was a lot of fun. Bright colors. Everything popped. Everyone looked like they're having a good time. They did send me on a mini quest to get this lanyard that lights up and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. But basically you had to go find something and then get a ticket and then come back, and then you got to retrieve this.
You did it!
Yay! I did it!
Congratulations!
Thank you. And also do a claw machine thing to get a Steam code for one of their games. So it was a lot of fun. But my favorite set overall was the Devolver booth. They had a big movie theater theme going on, and it was a ton of fun. It was super cool. As a viewer, just walking by, but also as one of the participants, if you're playing any of their games, it was really fun to kind of interact with, just seeing how crazy it was. And it looked like one of those really cool immersive experiences that you kind of hope for when going to one of these events. One of the games I'm looking forward to releasing is Angerfoot, and that one looks super weird. It's totally up my alley. But yeah, looks like a good time. Basically, I think Devolver had one of the best exhibits there, and I was super happy that they showed up. But outside of their main exhibit halls, PAX isn't just for that. There's a lot of panels, a lot of industry talks and other showcases, and a lot of other things that kind of go on during this 4-day convention. One of the other experiences I got to go to was the Gearbox Showcase. That was a lot of fun. That was the first showcase I've ever been to live. A lot of hardcore Gearbox fans, coming from the Borderlands series. And then there's first timers like me that I know Borderlands. I haven't really been too much into the games, but I love their art style, and basically they were showing off a bunch of the cool things that they're working on as far as being a publisher now. But at the showcase, they basically let us do a play along with them to kind of highlight the new aspect of their new title that's coming out, New Tales of the Borderlands. I was digging it. It was pretty funny. The writing seemed really good, and I'm excited to see it come out. There's a lot of other fun things that are happening at the showcase too. The co-founder, Randy Pitchford, he sold the shirt he was wearing there for $1,200 to some person in the audience.
Set 1,000. There you go. 1,200. Holy shit, y'all. This is getting real.
The money goes to scholarships for new game devs so that they can get a foot in the door in the industry. So it's for a good cause. But it was just kind of crazy action happening there. A lot of the other PAX staples were still present. You know, you had the tabletop free play, you had the PC free play, and retro games free play area. The retro games seemed a bit pared down to what it normally is. I mean, it was the same space, but it just seemed a little bit more empty. Perhaps it was just because it was Friday and it was the first day of the conference, but the tabletop section as well seemed a little light. Typically there's a lot more vendors kind of showing their merchandise as well. There was only like a small section of the space that was being filled for specific vendors. A lot of it was kind of just like free roaming area where you can go and play your games with friends and stuff like that. Side note, Samsung did have a really cool mini booth where you got to test out their crazy widescreen monitor. It was so weird that it was tucked away in a corner that you really wouldn't have been able to like notice that they were there unless you were specifically looking for it, or you had seen everything else and then wanted to go check it out. So placement wise it was weird, but I'm happy that this showed up. Overall, since I only attended the first day of PAX, I only got a little glimpse of everything PAX had to offer, but I still feel like I did everything I wanted. Were there a lot of new games and exciting games I was really anticipating on getting my hands on? No, not really, but that's okay. I mean, like, it didn't take away from the fun and experience that I had. It was really nice to see PAX return to form after a long drought of significant in-person events. This one was really close to feeling like things were back to normal. And while the volume, I would say, is around like 50% of what it normally would be, it's still nice to see the vendors and exhibitors bring their A game to the convention for the people to experience. This whole event leads me to be more excited about what's to come for PAX and what they're gonna do with E3 next year. I was really skeptical that PAX West was gonna be an event that I was excited for. I was pleasantly surprised. The indie game devs were still there and showing off the games that they're working on, so I'm happy to see that hasn't changed at all or anything like that. And overall, like, I had a good time, and I totally would recommend, like, if you guys went this year, let me know how you guys enjoyed it. Let me also know that, if this actually makes you excited to come next year to check it out, because, like, I feel like last year was kind of, everything was still kind of crazy and we weren't sure what we were gonna get. This year is a little bit more certain, but I thought that the lineup was gonna be light. It turned out, I was wrong, and that they came in with some good hits, some bangers. I still think that PAX West is still a great place for everybody from all backgrounds, whether you're in gaming or not, to come in and have a good time and share that enthusiasm with everybody. Now I'm excited to see what they bring in for next year, so I think I'll definitely cover it again next year. With that being said, my name is Joe. I cover gaming, tech, and video creation here in Seattle. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.